Hello everybody, and welcome to Monday's live stream. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, please give us a like, and if you're watching in my group, please do say hello, and if you're watching live on YouTube as well. Today, I'm going to be sharing my top tips for Twitter to grow your Twitter following and to find those and attract those ideal clients. So please do listen in and ask me any questions as well. I am live, so if you're on YouTube, please do type any questions in the chat and I can answer them live. And if you're watching in my group, please do ask me any questions again in the group, and do say hello. I'll love to see who's watching. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about Twitter. Now, I don't often talk about Twitter, but actually Twitter is a really, really powerful social media platform. Again, if you know how to use it in the right way. So I'll give you an example. When I was working at Nomad Games, I was really struggling to get in front of games journalists, because you email them about a new game you're releasing and they never heard of you because you're a small developer. How do you get a conversation going with games journalists? Well, basically, a lot of journalists use Twitter to keep up to date with news and what's going on in their sector. So by interacting with them and using Twitter, I had phenomenal success getting a conversation with these journalists and ultimately getting our games printed, but not just once, but over and over again, because it was about developing that relationship. And that is the power of Twitter. It's about creating and developing relationships, okay? It's about being sociable. So again, if you are watching, please do share your Twitter handles as well, and we can all follow each other. I'm happy to give us a follow. So if you're on Twitter, share your Twitter handle in the chat, and I'll make sure I follow you all as well. You can follow each other, because it is about growth on Twitter. It's about growing your followers. Okay. So first of all, I just want to give you a few stats actually about Twitter. Did you know that over 355 million active users on Twitter every month? Okay, that's massive. Now, I know I talk a lot about LinkedIn in a lot of these streams, but Twitter actually has more active users than LinkedIn. Okay. So that's a huge opportunity. People love Twitter because it's just a little short bit of snippet of information. Okay, they don't have to think about crafting a massive post because you've only got those minimum number of characters in that tweet. Okay, so how do you grow your Twitter following? Like any social media platform, when you're a business and you create a social media platform, it's really difficult to begin with to attract followers. So here are 10 top tips to followers. Oh, hi Jonathan, thanks for saying hello. Again, if anyone else is brave enough to say hello this morning, give us a shout. Again, if you've got any questions or want to share your Twitter handle in the comments, please do post them, and I'll follow you all at the end. Right, okay. And again, if you're watching this after the live stream, again, put your Twitter handle in the comments. You know, let's all follow each other. Okay, right. The first thing, my first top tip for Twitter is you've got to be active. Okay. Oh, hi, Amanda. Hi, nice to see you. Or to hear from you even. Okay, so the first top tip, you've got to be active on Twitter. Twitter, like any other social media platform, is monitoring your every move. It's monitoring if you're actually going onto the platform, if you're liking, if you're retweeting, if you're commenting and that sort of thing, if you're searching, using the search bar and that sort of thing. So you've got to be active on Twitter. There's no point using a third-party scheduling tool and that's it, and never jumping on Twitter. Twitter is not going to rank you higher in the searches than other people who are active. Those that are active get a lot more love from Twitter. It's much more likely to share your tweets. It's much more likely to say your Twitter profile if you're an active member of the community. So be active, okay? That means anything. Clicking on images, clicking on links, whatever. Just be active on the platform. So my second top tip then is have a conversation. This is social media. It's about being sociable. have a conversation with people on Twitter. If you see something inspiring, if you see an inspiring tweet or something that's asking for your opinion, do respond. Do put a comment under there. Twitter will not only reward you for it, it will also help to increase the engagement of the tweet that you're responding on. But if you then write a comment, you're getting recognized by the person who's tweeted that tweet as well. So again, you're getting recognized by anyone else who might comment under that tweet or like that tweet. So again, it's increasing your visibility. So it's all about generating conversations. So, you know, even if you're commenting, ask a question, ask a further question if you're not sure, you want a bit of clarification on a tweet you might have seen. So ask a question and have a conversation. So my third top tip, and you've probably heard me talking about this on other platforms, is don't just sell. We all go into business going, crikey, we've got to sell our stuff. We all go into a panic mode going, I've got to sell. I've got targets to hit. I need to sell my stuff. I need to put my stuff on. This is what I've got to sell. I've got 20% off that. I've got 20% off that, 10% off that. This is new product. Look how fabulous I am. Okay, people are not on Twitter to buy. People are generally on Twitter to be informed. There's an awful lot of great news information out there. They want to find out what's happening in their sector. They want to find some top tips like these. They want to understand how they can improve and be better people. And also they want to be entertained as well. So by you constantly selling your stuff with a very untargeted approach, you're not likely to get very far on Twitter. Yes, you might get the odd follower, but they're not likely to engage, and you're not really going to get the best out of Twitter if that's all you do. So generally speaking, you want to be doing about 80% tweets that are really engaging, adding value, sharing tips, talking about you, telling stories about your business. And then 20%, once you've got that engagement going up, then you can go and sell, because you've got an engaged audience who like your content, who like your tweets. Okay. Fourth top tip then, for those people that don't use it, do use lists on Twitter. Lists are phenomenal for really targeting and honing in on what you want to achieve. Okay, because we can all follow loads and loads of people, but what that means is we end up with a huge news feed full of irrelevant stuff that might not necessarily help us to ultimately sell our stuff or increase our profile brand. So therefore, do use lists on Twitter to really hone in on information that's useful for you, and to hone in on that strategy, on that engagement strategy of people you want to do business with. Use lists. And again, if you don't know what lists are, or you don't know how to use them, then please do come along. I've got an online workshop happening on the 20th of October. We're doing an hour every day over 4 days over Zoom, and I'm going to help you. I'll show you how to create lists and what type of lists you should do. That's one element of the training. Okay, so my fifth top tip then is use hashtags. Okay, people forget what hashtags are, forget that they're there. They're maybe not really sure how to use it. But if you do use hashtags, use the right one. Twitter is renowned for hashtags. Twitter was one of the first social media platforms to launch with hashtags. So please do use hashtags, but use them wisely. Okay, don't get dragged in. If you're using your Twitter for a business perspective, then use hashtags that are going to attract your customers. So hashtag Follow Friday is not a good hashtag to use. Hashtag Throwback Thursday is not a good hashtag to use. It's too generic. It's not related to your sector. Really think about your hashtag strategy, honing in what type of hashtags are relevant to your business sector and what type of hashtags your customers are likely to be using. Okay. Again, if you need help with a hashtag strategy, you know where I am. Okay. And if you're not sure what they are, then I have got a blog all about hashtags as well. So check out my website. Right. Okay. Now my sixth top tip then is follow influencers in your field. So what do I mean by influencers in your field? I mean, when you need to get up-to-date news and information about your sector, who do you turn to? Is it a specific company? Is it a specific individual who does a lot of research in your area? Well, follow those influencers in your sector, because they are likely to be tweeting up-to-date, relevant information. And if you can then retweet that information, it makes your profile up-to-date and relevant, and shows that you know what you're talking about, and you know that you're getting your information from a verified source. So really have a think about who those influencers are in your sector. The worst thing you can do is just follow a load of random people. Okay, so really think about influencers that are really going to help and drive your business forward and that brand. And by following those influencers well and engaging with those influencers, then you are raising your brand in that field as well, and hopefully attracting some of their followers to follow you. So really do, the first thing, if you launch your Twitter strategy, really do think about those influencers. Okay, right then, my 7th top tip then. And again, if you've got any questions and you're watching this live, please do put any questions in the comments. And if you've got some top tips as well, please do share them. Right, now my 7th one is probably quite an obvious one, but believe it or not, it's not that well used all the time. My 7th one is tweet. Yeah, simply as that, tweet. Create tweets. Don't just retweet. People do a lot of it retweeting, they might liking and commenting, but you are there to increase your profile. Okay, you need to be creating new content on Twitter, otherwise you're never really going to go that far. A lot of people use Twitter and they'll sort of watch what's going on and watch what's happening, but you've got to put yourself out there. If you want to be seen, if you want your brand to grow, the only way you're going to do it is by regularly tweeting. Okay, and the more tweets you do, the more visible you are going to be. Now, how many tweets? Well, Twitter is the most frequent content. I would suggest you need to do the most frequent content on Twitter. So ideally, if you're really serious about Twitter, you want to be doing 3 tweets a day. But remember, you don't think about it too much. If you're doing a post on LinkedIn and it might be a couple of paragraphs, can you make that into 3 separate tweets? Break down the content into really simple steps, okay? And interestingly enough as well, if you can put images on there, according to Buffer, images get 150% more retweets than tweets without images. So again, if you've got images and photos, do put them on there. But don't overthink it. You know, keep it simple. Twitter is about sharing random thoughts that are relevant, obviously, to your business sector. Little insights, little tiny snippets of information. So really have a think about it. Oh, so Jonathan just asked a question. Would you say Twitter was for B2C or B2B? So that's a really good question. I would suggest that Twitter is definitely B2B. There's an awful lot of businesses on there. There are an awful lot of organizations that are on Twitter. However, it depends on your target audience, because a lot of individuals use Twitter as well. So what I would always suggest is do a bit of research into your sector and find out whether your target market is active on Twitter. And if they are, brilliant. And if they're not, like anything, you've got to do your research. It can be very, very successful for both. But I would err on the side of B2B more than anything. But again, do your research. That is not carte blanche for everybody. Okay, so yes, thanks. Good question, that one. Now, my 8th top tip, which is do not put links on your tweets. Okay, what a lot of people tend to do is write a lovely blog on their website and then go, oh, I'll tweet that onto Twitter. Unfortunately, Twitter doesn't like you putting links on there because it's taking you off Twitter. Okay, Twitter likes its customers to remain on Twitter. Now, if you wanted to do a sponsored tweet, then absolutely put your link on there. But if you are looking to grow and you've not got a very engaged account and you've not got that many followers at the moment, then do not put links on every single tweet. It's not going to work. You're not going to grow. You need to be getting up to about 1,000 followers on Twitter before you can really start seeing that growth without much engagement, without implementing too much of an engagement strategy. Until you get those 1,000 followers, you've really got to be active on Twitter. You've really got to be engaging. You've really got to be thinking about content that's not got links in, but is really adding value to your market. Okay, so don't put links in there. So my 9th tip then is, do use the private message function. I think this is one of the most underused private messaging functions of all the social media platforms put together. I've been on Twitter for years, when I used to work at Nomad Games and now. And I would say the Twitter private message function is the most underused. However, if you do message someone on Twitter, you definitely get heard. Okay, obviously you've got to be following each other if you want to message. You can't message people you don't follow, who don't follow you. But if you use that message function, you definitely get heard. Much more powerful than sending them an email. Okay, so please do use that. Great for having, quick updates with potential clients, with existing clients, seeing how they're doing. Much more personal than just tagging them in on a tweet. And then my 10th tip then is really do optimize your Twitter profile. Think about who on earth you want to follow you on Twitter and create your profile with that audience in mind. Again, really think about, your profile picture, the banner that it's got behind there. Think about the words that you're using, your little bio that sits under there. It's all really, really important stuff if you are to attract the right followers. There's absolutely no point getting odd random followers on Twitter if they are not going to buy from you. Therefore, you've got to really spend a bit of time sorting out your profile so that it attracts your ideal clients. Now, if you need help with this, do come along to my Twitter workshop on the 20th of October. We're going to transform your profile to attract the right clients. I'm going to show you an interaction and engagement strategy to get in front of and get the opportunity to private message those potential customers. I'm going to show you how to use lists. I'm going to show you how to clean up your news feeds and get really targeted on Twitter so that you're just not getting lost in it, because we can get lost in Twitter. It is too easy to get lost in Twitter. There's so much going on. So I'm going to help you with your content strategy, and we're going to use Twitter to drive sales, but very, very direct. So please, I'll share the link to that Twitter workshop. And come along on the 20th of October. It's only £99 for all 4 sessions for the whole week. So it's really good value. Now then, I did see a fantastic quote on Twitter just as I was coming onto this stream, actually. And I just wanted to end on that. It was from The Base. They were talking about social media content. They'd done a blog on there and they put a little tweet on there. And I just thought, this is fantastic. And I'll finish on this little quote. And it just says, good content is anything that adds value to the reader's life. Okay. And I thought that was a fantastic quote, because that's what Twitter's about. It's got to add value to the reader's life. But if you've not got the right readers, the right followers, then you're not adding value to the right people. So please do have a think about that Twitter strategy. And I hope these top 10 tips have helped. And I will see you again next Monday at 12:30 for the live stream. If you're watching on YouTube, please do like and subscribe to my channel, where I share lots of tips and help and advice on social media every week. And if you're watching this after the event, please do share some comments below, your Twitter handle. I'll happily follow you as well. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. And I'll see you again next week at 12:30. See you later. Bye.